When I first heard about tiny little super portable, super pocket-friendly retro controllers, at first I was like, But then when I got some, I was kinda like, However, when I started using them more, I was like, ooh. But deep down, I was still feeling kinda, But then I saw this, and I was instantly like, so I ordered it, and when it arrived at my house, the delivery guy was like, and then I was like, blah, 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 blah. And then my mom came out and she was like, so all three of us were there just all, and I don't even know why we were doing that. It's weird and it makes no sense, but dreams are like that. This is a dream I'm telling you about, by the way. The controller is real though, and it's actually pretty great. You're totally gonna be like, oh. Hey there, how's it going? I'm TechDweeb, welcome. Thanks for clicking on the video today. I'm a big fan of tiny things. I love tiny little toys, little retro handhelds, little consoles, little computers. I like tiny burgers, tiny coffees, tiny cookies, and little bitty mugs of root beer. And tiny cars and tiny houses. Those are awesome. I can't buy them because of my tiny bank account, but I would if I could. I just love tiny things. I don't know why. Some people say I'm compensating for something, you know? Because like, if you like big things, that means you have a small thing. So, you know, I like small things, which means actually, never mind. The world of tiny tech is a lovely, whimsical place full of fun, unique, quirky little gizmos and doodads that pack a ton of functionality into a tiny package. I love all sorts of tiny tech, you name it, especially tiny controllers. They are so great to have because they can be so small you can literally pack a whole gaming party's worth in your pocket. Even if I'm out on a solo adventure, bringing one of these things with whatever device I'm taking just makes me feel good, knowing that I can game wirelessly, like on the TV or whatever, if I want to. Obviously, with gaming on small things, you'll be sacrificing some comfort, but I think the trade-off might be worth it in lots of situations if they're actually comfortable enough to actually game on. Which brings us to this. The inni. I like the sound of inni. The inni mini retro controller Anak Gen 2. A tiny little controller that's small enough to bring along anywhere, but is still big enough to game on, with lovely feeling controls, good connection, and function options, and it's retro as heck. Look at this little guy. It's like someone mutilated a little mini retro handheld and chopped the head off, in like a good way. But not only is it a great little cute retro controller, this thing is also so feature rich and full of functionality that it might be one of the most useful things that I've ever used. I'll show you what I mean in a bit. The company didn't send this to me. I bought this myself just out of curiosity more than anything, and I liked it so much I said to myself, TechDweeb, you should make a video about that little controller after you're done eating that leftover lasagna. And I replied to myself by saying, yeah, that's a great idea. I think I will. And then I said back to myself, hey, that lasagna smells good. Can I have a bite? And then I replied, no! It comes in this adorable little box, picture of the doodad on the front, not much else. In here is a piece of plastic with the controller in there, and also a lanyard, strap, and a USB-C cable for charging because you don't have 800 of those already. Here's the word paper, and this word paper is actually pretty important because they go through all the modes and functions and stuff. This is one word paper you're probably going to want to hold on to so you know how to do stuff. I'm not good at keeping track of papers. I'm pretty sure I blew my nose on my birth certificate the other day. The price will depend on where you get it. This is available from Amazon for 22 bucks. However, I got it from AliExpress for just 16 bucks. That's a sale price though, so I'm not sure how long that'll last. I'll find a bunch of links and I'll toss them in the thingy below if you're interested in picking one up. On the front, we have a D-pad on the left side, and this down here is a turbo button, start and select up here, and a capture button, and the home button. Face button's over here. Up top, we have bumpers and triggers, and a USB-C hole for charging. Underneath, we have a lanyard hole, and a pairing button, and some LED indicator lights. Around back, we have that Game Boy style grippy texture for style and comfort. Let's get the looks of this thing out of the way because this is like the reason I bought this. I already had enough mini controllers. I didn't need this. I didn't intend on making a video about it. I wanted it because, I mean, look at it. Look at it! It's a retro Game Boy style that looks so authentic to the Game Boy. They freaking nailed the look of this thing. Everything from the rounded angle cut corner with the fake Game Boy speaker grill and the little kind of divided ridge up here, whatever you call it, just like a Game Boy, the black D-pad with the cherry red buttons and the gray buttons down here in the middle, the ribbed texture. This is so well done. It actually feels like an official product, like as if Nintendo put out a Game Boy style mini controller. I love the way this thing looks. I'm gonna plop this on my desk when I'm not using it just because it's so lovely to look at. They also have another color wave, this purple GameCube style controller style, and that one looks great. I already placed an order for that one too. I want to have them both. This is apparently the second version of this device from this company. The first version came in transparent colors and those look pretty good too. It's very small, as you can see. It's light too, just 30 grams or so. And I think you could easily carry this around in your pocket, or even like slap it on your keychain or turn it into a necklace or whatever. But as insubstantial as it is, it's actually pretty comfy to hold. Now, let's be real. If you're not into mini controllers, you're not gonna like this. This is about the same size as the 8-bit DOE microcontrollers. This one here is the one from my Steam Deck kit. Most of these little microcontrollers are about the same size, but this one is a bit more comfy to hold and use for a few reasons. The grippy texture around back actually works great. It feels less slippery in my fingers. The bumpers and triggers are in a good spot, just the right size and spacing where I can easily press them, and the size of the actual components is nice. The D-pad and the buttons feel big. This is sort of like how the big full-size D-pad and buttons on the Miyoo Mini make it feel like a bigger device than it actually is. This is easily the most comfortable to use microcontroller I have, which isn't saying a lot. I'm sure lots of people will find it too small, but it's just right for me. My fingers really love being on this thing. Don't you, fingers? Oh yeah, this is great. I gotta say, I'm having a great time over here. Oh, you know what else would be a great time? Yeah, I do. The controls are also pretty darn good. They feel nice. Kind of a squishy rubber membrane to the buttons and D-pad. Same thing with the bumpers and triggers. Squishy membrane. All the controls are relatively quiet too. The D-pad is overall pretty good. It's nice and big like a full-size D-pad. Input quality is fine, no false diagonals, but it's actually a smidge tricky to actually hit the diagonals when you want to. It's not bad, I can use it, but pulling off special moves in fighting games is a little bit more tricky here than other D-pads that I've used. Not terrible or anything, it feels good, and overall the controls feel surprisingly great. I wasn't expecting to enjoy using this to game on as much as I do. A minor gripe is these function buttons here. These aren't start and select the way they are on the Game Boy. This is capture and menu. These dot buttons up here are the start and select. That's kind of backwards to me. Minor complaint, but it's just a missed opportunity to make this feel a bit more authentic. Let's talk about the functions because there's actually a whole bunch of really cool things you can do with this thing. We actually have 8 different input methods that this can mimic. Basically anything you could want to do, you can do with this thing. Here's how it goes. If you hold up and press the pairing button, it'll be in switch mode, which makes it register as a Switch Pro controller. If you hold down and press pair, it'll be a Switch Joy-Con input, and you can actually change which Joy-Con it's registered as. It can be the left side or the right side. You can change it on the fly. Or you can hold left and pair it to be in X input mode, so it's registered as an Xbox controller. Or if you hold right and pair, it'll be D input, like an Android style controller. If you hold A and pair, it puts it into keyboard mode. So each of these keys in the D-pad are mapped like keys on the keyboard, if you need that for some reason. And if you hold X and pair, that puts it in touch mode. So this is like a touch gestures. Like up on the D-pad will be a swipe up gesture kind of thing. Oh, and this does work properly on Apple devices, by the way. They explain how to set that up in the manual. And you can hold Y and pair to get multimedia mode. So you'll have functions like playing and pausing, skipping tracks, volume up and down. So you could use this thing to be like a media center remote too. Finally, this is so cool. It has mouse mode. Hold B and pair for that and you'll be able to control the mouse cursor, and get this, it has gyro controls. You can literally use this like an air mouse. Like, how freaking cool is that? How many cheap Bluetooth controllers give you this functionality? Not many of them, I can tell you that much. Or you can disable the gyro and control the mouse cursor with the D-pad instead. You can even use this thing to click the subscribe button when you're watching TechDweeb. That's easily the most useful thing that any device can do. And when you're using it in controller mode, you can also swap the D-pad input to be registered as a left stick. That's really good for emulation, obviously. You can recalibrate the gyro function on the fly if needed, and it also pairs super quick. When you turn it on, it pairs in just like a few seconds, and it's not annoying with the pairing in any way like so many controllers are. It just works properly, exactly like I'd want it to every time. This little button down here is a turbo button. So the way this works is you can hold this and press any button to enable manual turbo. So if I put this on my shoot button here in Contra, you can see that when I hold this, it'll spam the shoot button. And if I do it again, it'll be auto turbo. So this will just turbo all by itself the whole time. You don't have to hold it. And you can do it again to disable the turbo, or you can hold the turbo button for 5 seconds to clear all the turbo buttons that you've set. So if it's not clear by now, this is not only a great little retro controller, it's also incredibly full and feature rich. So much so that it kind of puts most of my other Bluetooth controllers to shame. Even beyond gaming, this is such a useful thing to have around. Like me, except you don't have to feed it, or buy it root beer, or read it Lord of the Rings at bedtime. And as for gaming, it's what you'd expect. It's a little retro controller, and it plays games fine. I've only had it a few days, but I've already used it a ton, putting it through its paces, playing my favorite retro games on it, and it's performed amazing. I honestly like playing all sorts of stuff with this thing. Precision platformers, fighting games, arcade games, old NES and Game Boy and Super Nintendo. Obviously, it's not going to take the place of a full-size controller, and even though you can use the D-pad in left stick mode, it's not ever going to feel great for games that require precise analog movement, obviously, but it gets the job done in a pinch. I haven't actually used the other modes, apart from playing a little bit of Heroes of Might and Magic 2 on DOS at one point, using the mouse mode. And to be honest, that was mostly for the novelty of it. I don't need an air mouse, but if I did, I'd be super happy to use this for that. My main mini controller is the one that I have in my Steam Deck bag. I keep that with my deck so that if I bring it somewhere, I can use the controller to play retro games or start up Jackbox or indie games or whatever. If I'll be playing more involved games, I'll bring a full-size controller or just play right on the deck. But having a mini controller in my kit means I don't have to remember to bring something if I decide to go for some docked mode stuff. These mini microcontrollers aren't made for everyday use. I'm sure there's some weirdos out there who would use this every day, but to me it's more of just a convenience thing. But here's the thing about me, maybe you've noticed this already, if I love something, I'll find ways to use it. So far, I like this controller so much that I've actually been using it just to game on. I'm sure that it'll become a once-in-a-while controller just for when I need a microcontroller, but I'm still in the honeymoon phase right now. I love playing with this thing. But when it comes down to it, as a gaming controller, it's really great if you're into tiny controllers. I'm a weirdo. I have weird, skinny, long, but also very dexterous fingers, so I don't mind using little devices. Heck, my favorite handheld ever is the Miu Mini. Lots of people say that's too small for them, but not for me. I love gaming on it. Actually, that's a pretty good comparison. This isn't all that different feeling from a Miu Mini. So if you're familiar with the Miu Mini and you like gaming on it, you're probably going to enjoy gaming on this. And if you don't, you won't. I do, is what I'm saying, but I'm also saying that maybe you won't. And I'm also saying that I wish I didn't tell you that my mom reads me Lord of the Rings at bedtime to help me fall asleep. But some things you can't unsay, and I'm glad I'm not going to unsay that I like this controller. And if you want your own Ini and Knack Gen 2, check out the links in the thingy below. Anyways, that's going to do it for me for today. I gotta scoot, but thanks as always for watching. Bye-bye!